Hello everyone. This is part 2 of our series on how to build your own blocks. So last time we learned how to make your own block by going to the variables palette, and once you were there, clicking on make a block, this brought up a dialog box where you would decide where to put your block, what type of block you wanted, and who could see that block. So I'm going to write draw a square and click on OK. And at this point, we were able to create a block. Remember, what we could do is we could, in this case, I wanted to actually draw a block, so I'm going to put pen down, and eventually I'm going to want to put pen up. And in between, I'm going to want to repeatedly, namely 4 times, move and turn. And there we have our working block, which is here, draw a square. So we can test this out. And because of the fact that our sprite is draggable, I can test it in a variety of different locations, just like that. The trouble with our draw a square is it's rather inflexible. It will make a square, but no matter what square I make, it will no matter where I invoke this, the square will always be the same size. I'd like to change that. To make that happen, I right-click on my block and choose Edit. I get back into the block editor. You will notice in the hat block that there are a number of plus signs, and I can click on any one of these plus signs, and when I do that, a dialog box will appear indicating what I want to create. And I have the option of inserting text or an input at that particular location. Now, what I really want to do is draw a square of size. So what I can do is I'm going to click here, and first I'm going to click on title text, and I'm going to say of size, and then click on OK. And now you notice that my hat block has changed. Now it says draw a square of size. So by clicking on here, I was able to insert text. In addition to inserting text, I can click here on a plus sign, and again, I could do this on any of the plus signs, but it makes sense from an English perspective to put the input at this location. And this time, I'm going to choose input name, and I'm going to call it size. And when I do so, I get an orange oval, which looks like a variable because this is an input, so it basically is a variable. It will be able to take on any number of numeric values. And to use this, I simply drag it about and put it wherever I want to in my script. Now in this case, I don't want to move 10 steps anymore. I want to move size steps. And now I have a more versatile block. So I'm going to click on OK. And now it says draw a square of size. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to make my first one of size 50. And then I'm going to drag another one out, or I could have duplicated that, I suppose. I'll make another one of size 75. And I just like dragging. I'm in a dragging sort of mood. So we'll go ahead and do that. And there we have it. We have 3 squares, and they're sort of nested in an unusual way. So we've seen how we can create our own blocks with our own input fields. By the way, just a point of terminology. I'm going to use the phrase input field to describe the box when it appears in a block as I'm using it in a script. Inside the definition, I'm going to call this an input. Now, you'll notice just one subtle difference between our inputs here and our inputs here. Let's just put these side by side. Notice that this says move 10 and it's an oval. Watch what happens if I try and put something in here like, well, I'm trying to type letters. I don't know if you can hopefully hear. I am typing, nothing is showing up. The point of this, and if I type a 10, there it is. So this particular input field has been engineered so it only accepts numbers, nothing else. Let's see how we can do that with our script. I'm going to go to size here, and because it's already there, I can click on it and it brings up the edit input name rather than make one. And I am going to click, so it still says size, which is good, and it's still an input as opposed to just arbitrary text. It's the name of my input. But when I click on here, I get a rather daunting list of options. The second row is the one that we want to concentrate on for a moment. This has been highlighted so we can put in any type for our input. If I click on here, I can at this point only put in a number, and you notice the shape here indicates, that oval indicates they can only accommodate a number. There's some other things here as well, but for right now that will do. So I'm going to click on OK and click on OK, and you notice these are all now ovals. And if I tried to put in something that was non-numeric, like hello, nothing happens. It won't let me do it. Just one last point before we end this video. I want to make perfectly clear what is happening here. So I'm going to show you both the block and the block editor. And so when we have an input field, the contents of that input field get delivered into the input in the block where the block is really being defined. So we have a 100. The 100 ends up in size when this block is being run. If we were running this block instead, the one of size 75, then the contents of this input field, 75, gets passed into the size. And so when we say move size steps, now we would be moving 75 rather than 100. So this thing varies, and so it really is just a variable, but it's only available and it's local to this block. It's an old idea in computer science, very helpful whenever you want to make a block and make it customizable so it doesn't just do one thing every time you use it. That's it for this video, and again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Ta-ta for now.